Welcome to the Virtual Public Information Center for Mercer County's New Jersey Route 29 Local Concept Development Study. The project continues a long-standing effort to convert Route 29 from a highway into an urban boulevard that also carries bicycles and pedestrians and that will directly connect the local street network. Those connections will give Trenton citizens and visitors access to the Delaware riverfront and potentially to restored Riverside Park areas. The project is also intended to unlock mixed-use redevelopment on the surface parking lots that are part of the state capitol complex. In partnership with the City of Trenton, the project is being managed by the Mercer County Engineering Department, which, under County Executive Dan Benson and the County Board of Commissioners, seeks to deliver infrastructure projects that are high priorities for Mercer County citizens. This presentation focuses on the background of the project and its goals. Based on our early work, we are looking for comments and suggestions from residents and other stakeholders. As we get further along, we will come back to the public to share the conceptual alternatives we have come up with so that we can gain consensus on which alternatives are most desirable and most likely to advance. The comment period for this early phase will be open until April 30th, 2025. The video presentation will remain available for viewing along with a link to a comment form. At the end of the presentation, we will let you know how to submit questions and comments. We are now in the early stages of what the Federal Highway Administration calls a local concept development study. So far, we've been collecting traffic and topographic data, understanding the potential environmental impacts, and engaging with the local officials and stakeholders to clearly define the project purpose and need. The next project phase will be to develop and refine alternative design concepts from among which to recommend a preliminary preferred alternative that can be advanced into the engineering design phase. The project is located in the City of Trenton, Mercer County, New Jersey, and extends along Route 29 from Cass Street to Calhoun Street and includes the downtown area bounded by Route 1 to the south, New Warren Street to the east, Calhoun Street to the north, and the Delaware River to the west. Note that the study area for the project is smaller than the area of economic revitalization impact, which we hope to be citywide. New mixed-use development and a walkable, bikeable, human-scale roadway can dramatically change the character of a city. This project has a number of interdependent goals. First, we want to stimulate economic development in the immediate project area and citywide by changing parking lots into developable parcels and attracting developers to build multi-use facilities that include housing, retail, and business. We want to improve traffic connections to the downtown street network by converting Route 29 from a freeway to an urban boulevard and building a street grid connected to the existing street grid to the east. We want to provide increased open space also by converting Route 29 to a smaller footprint roadway, and with the space we gain, create a riverfront park with passive and active recreation that connects the county's Old Wharf Park and South Riverwalk Park to the city's Stacy Park north of Calhoun Street. We want to increase the resiliency of the roadway so it can stay open during flood events while retaining the floodways of the Delaware River and Assunpink Creek. Finally, we want to improve pedestrian access to the Delaware River, again by converting Route 29 from a freeway to an urban boulevard and removing the barrier created by the freeway. Route 29 has acted as a barrier to the public for access to the Delaware River. Before Route 29 was built and the state office complex was expanded, Trenton residents enjoyed a gracious waterfront park connecting the State House grounds with the Delaware River. In the 1950s and 60s, adapting to the age of automobiles, many cities built freeways through less developed areas, typically at the expense of parks and open spaces, which frequently existed along waterways. The construction of Route 29 in Trenton cut residents off from the waterfront. Like many other cities, Trenton has been looking to reclaim its waterfront that was disconnected from the city. This notion has been around for decades and was initiated with the formation of the Capital City Redevelopment Corporation, also known as CCRC, in 1988. The CCRC's mission was to revitalize the downtown Trenton area that has experienced decades of decline. As part of this revitalization, the CCRC and City of Trenton adopted a redevelopment plan that called for changing the Route 29 freeway to an urban boulevard. In 2005, the New Jersey Department of Transportation embarked on a study to convert the Route 29 freeway to an urban boulevard in compliance with the CCRC vision. All of the concepts also included converting the government parking areas into an urban street grid system that ties into the existing adjacent city blocks to the east and creates developable parcels, providing opportunities for mixed-use development, including residential, retail, and office. The New Jersey DOT studies continued with the 2009 feasibility assessment that further advanced the previous concepts to the selection of a preferred alternative. For a multitude of reasons, this initiative was paused, and now the county is picking up where the previous studies left off and is completing the concept development phase. Two base alternatives were developed, and each alternative changed Route 29 to an urban boulevard with features including 2 lanes in each direction, parking lanes, a center turn lane, intersections, sidewalks, and streetscape and landscaping features. The waterfront alternative essentially kept the Route 29 boulevard in its current location along the Delaware River, with a minor shift away from the river to provide room for a riverfront park where no park exists today. The inland alternative moved the Route 29 boulevard away from the Delaware River from the Market Street exit ramp through the parking lot areas, providing more space for a larger riverfront park with a less traveled local street adjacent to the park and more choice riverfront parcels. The inland alternative was selected as the preferred alternative in the 2009 feasibility assessment study. Each alternative creates city blocks with sidewalks, intersections, and roundabouts, and pedestrian crosswalks to provide convenient access to the river. The street grid system also allows for modified access to the Route 1 bridge, eliminating the existing ramps along the waterfront, and provides space for a linear park. Because the previous studies were completed over 15 years ago, this study will evaluate the changes since then. A few of the main items to be reevaluated include traffic volumes, land use and development, economics, and environmental regulations. As we all know, how and when people travel has changed significantly over the past 5 years, with more people working from home. This map shows how traffic volumes have changed from the 2009 feasibility assessment to the current conditions in 2025. It has been determined that traffic volumes have changed at different rates within different sections of the study area. Route 29 experienced the lowest decrease in volumes at about 5%, while the area around the state office buildings saw the highest average decrease in traffic volumes of about 40%. It should be noted that not all the decrease can be attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. A review of available volume data from before the pandemic shows that volumes were decreasing on many of the local roadways even before then. In addition to changes in volume, there have been changes in demand for more multimodal infrastructure, particularly improved pedestrian and bicycle facilities. These elements will be considered as we move forward in the development of alternatives. Since the completion of the previous studies, there have been changes to the project area related to land use and development. Most of the downtown project area is within redevelopment zones and has seen a flurry of activity, including demolition of several state buildings, construction of the new taxation building, and Cooper Crossings residential development down by the ballpark. Active and planned projects include a soil remediation project in the parking lots, construction of the Old Wharf Park, and planned downtown redevelopments, including Kingsbury Towers. Over 630 apartment units, some with mixed use and commercial, have recently been approved, are under construction, or have been completed in the downtown Trenton area. Funding sources and opportunities are ever changing in the different political climates and obtaining funding for projects is more challenging than ever due to significant competition for the funds. In addition, due to increased inflation, cost of goods and labor, construction costs have increased significantly since 2009. As mentioned previously, the pandemic has changed the way people work. The hybrid workplace has reduced office building occupancies and parking demand, freeing up space for development and economic growth. On a brighter note, the region is witnessing economic growth from high-wage biomedical and pharmaceutical sectors. This growth is driving demand for housing, office, and retail space, opening a window for transformation not just for the broader county, but also for the city of Trenton. Near the study area, the conversion of office space to housing is helping to revive existing property values. This project provides an opportunity to further diversify the downtown region and create additional revenue for the city. As the water surface elevation rises on the Delaware River, it blocks the flow of the Assunpink Creek, causing it to overtop its banks. Given the proximity of the Assunpink Creek and the Delaware River, Route 29 and the majority of the potential development sites are currently within the NJDEP flood hazard area, shown in blue on this map. The flood hazard area is the land which lies below the flood elevation created by a 100-year storm event with an additional factor of safety. NJDEP's new rules and higher flood elevations are based on the latest climate change, extreme storm events, and sea level information. Typically, new roadways and development must be constructed 1 foot above the flood hazard elevation. To reduce future flood impacts, raising the Route 29 roadway and proposed street grid above the flood hazard area is anticipated wherever possible. The new environmental regulations have introduced additional challenges to overcome. Due to the new flood hazard elevations and rules, the parcels closest to the waterfront that were previously anticipated to be available for mixed-use residential and retail may now be limited to mostly commercial uses, which is not preferred. Therefore, the area shown in purple will likely become parkland that can also double as flood protection. The remaining lots, shown in orange, would need to be raised above the flood hazard elevation to be developed for uses such as mixed-use residential, retail, and office. It needs to be understood that this project will not be easy. Feasibility of the overall project will have to consider several critical aspects such as land ownership, permitting and environmental concerns, and cost. Demolishing a working highway and replacing it with a boulevard will be a challenge. As a result, an evaluation is ongoing to determine whether this project can be phased. For example, the surface parking lots closest to the city core, labeled A, B, and C, could potentially be part of an initial redevelopment. The city and county would initially build the roadways and then work with developers to redevelop the surface parking lots with residential and retail, creating a more desirable area to live and work, and spur demand for the next redevelopment area closer to the river. On this map, the green shaded areas represent existing city parks and waterfront recreational areas, and the yellow arrows represent existing pedestrian and bicycle routes in the area. The orange shading represents the area that has no waterfront access from downtown and from the parks to the north and south. This project aims to provide bicycle and pedestrian-friendly access to complete these missing connections. In addition, the county and city currently have several active projects that are looking to add pedestrian, bicycle, and transit connections to increase safety and connectivity throughout the area. The following few slides provide examples of successful similar waterfront improvement projects that have been implemented around the country. The first example is Riverfront Parkway in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Like Route 29, the highway was built in the 1960s along the waterfront, restricting pedestrian access to the Tennessee River. Discussions started in the 1980s about how to best utilize the space, and in the early 2000s, a plan was approved to replace the 4-lane highway with a more pedestrian-friendly and easily accessible boulevard. Construction was completed in 2004. The long process from concept to implementation proved worthwhile as the adjacent downtown area has been revitalized with growing populations, new developments, and the waterfront park. The second example is Harbor Drive in Portland, Oregon. Harbor Drive was built in the 1950s alongside the Willamette River. As more highways were constructed in the area, the need for a major highway along the river was reduced. In the late 1960s, the governor pledged support for the beautification of the riverfront, and construction started on the boulevard in 1974. The waterfront park was constructed in 1978 and extended in 1999. The project is credited for the economic development of Portland's downtown and a resurgence in downtown housing. The third example of a successful waterfront improvement project is Tom Lee Park in Memphis, Tennessee. This park along the banks of the Mississippi River was an underutilized swath of land that was disconnected from the city. The 31-acre park was created in 1991 but sat mostly empty with few trees and no amenities. The redesigned park, which opened in 2023, reconnected the city to the river by creating a shared public space for the adjacent neighborhoods and the downtown Memphis business district. A series of new ADA accessible entrance ramps connect the park to public transportation and downtown Memphis. The park features over 1,000 new trees, as well as an outdoor classroom, playground, water play features, and art installations. The park is also connected to other riverfront parks by a 5-mile walking and biking trail. There are many public benefits resulting from a project of this type and magnitude. From the creation of a large waterfront park providing the missing connections for pedestrians and bicyclists from downtown and the existing and future waterfront parks, to the flood reduction and environmental benefits, this project will create a sense of place and provide economic, employment, and recreational opportunities. Restoring access to the river would reconnect the city's core back to its historic roots, which tie into accessing the river. New parks and open space would be created, and the current sea of asphalt could be replaced with more trees and vegetation. We started the concept development phase in September and are currently in the data collection phase, which includes obtaining project area mapping, traffic counts, market and development data, and documenting the existing conditions and evaluating deficiencies. This phase will include the environmental screening, stormwater and permitting evaluation, and economic resiliency and traffic analyses, and approval of the purpose and needs statement. This phase is expected to be completed in May of 2025. The initiation of the alternatives analysis will overlap the data collection phase and will complete the impact assessment and review the alternatives with the local officials and stakeholders, with the goal of selecting a preliminary preferred alternative in October of 2025. The final documentation and resolution of support is anticipated to be completed by early 2026. We have compiled the following list of questions to help encourage discussion about the project. These questions are also included in the online survey on the project website, which we invite you to complete before April 30th. Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation on the Route 29 Local Concept Development Study. Please complete the project survey, submit questions, and provide comments using the link shown, or to the attention of Jason Mildenberg at the Mercer County Department of Engineering, 640 South Broad Street, Trenton, New Jersey, 08650-0068. After April 30th, you can contact Jason Mildenberg by email at jmildenberg@mercercounty.org or by phone at 609-989-6600. Your participation and comments are appreciated by the Mercer County Engineering Department. Thank you.